T-Mobile's unlimited plan costs $95 per month for a smaller network, plus monthly taxes and fees. It's enough to wreck your day. Cricket's unlimited plan gives you a bigger network for $25 less per month, with monthly taxes and fees included. Cricket Wireless, something to smile about.
Download speeds max of 8 megabits per second LTE and 4 megabits per second 4G. Price comparison based on one smartphone line with unlimited plan. Mobile hotspot not available. Activation, other fees and restrictions apply. Coverage not available everywhere. Terms, features, and restrictions subject to change. See store for details.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliate stations coast to coast present
Baseball, Beer, and Barbecue.
No hitter for Arietta.
Discussing baseball, good drinks, and food.
Or clear for a minute so I can write down the damn time.
It just got weird.
With Ted Hicks.
Everybody wants to be Bartolo.
Todd Vandenberg.
The handsomest man on the entire goddamn tour.
And Lee Vowell.
Folks, look around. Anyone who's not singing in the choruses is a racist.
Every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on the Happy Hour Network.
Welcome to a special baseball, beer, and barbecue podcast with Ted and Lee, where we talk with Chris Wassel about the Stanley Cup Finals. Like us on Facebook, follow us on the Twitter at Baseball Beer BBQ, and read us on our blog site, baseballbeerbbq.com, and get even more info at thehappyhournetwork.com. We would like to welcome Chris Wassel to the show. Chris is host of Fantasy Hockey X and writes for Dobberhockey, Project Roto, and many more outlets. Chris, thanks for being on.
Thank you, guys. How are you doing this evening?
Yeah, we're doing all right. It's a beautiful day, at least in Tennessee. I don't know how it is with you guys. But anyway, as a fan of hockey, Chris, how exciting is this specific Stanley Cup Finals with the Pittsburgh Penguins versus the San Jose Sharks to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think some people are going to be at least a little bit dismayed by it. I know there were some in the hockey community privately that were rooting for Tampa and San Jose final, to be honest. But look, you get Pittsburgh, you get Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin. The Sharks, you have Joe Pavelski, the two Joes basically, Pavelski and Thornton. You have some nice stories with Logan Couture, Brent Burns, obviously. Everybody loves Beard. They're actually selling chia beards in San Jose, at least of Thornton and particularly Brent Burns, just because Burns has grown his for so long that it's reached something of biblical stature.
Yeah, I think Burns has been growing his since before he was born, it seems, anyway. But, San Jose has been a team that has seemed to falter in the playoffs throughout the years, even though if they've had tons of talent at certain points. They're scoring a lot this year. What makes this year different from past years?
Biggest difference, and people will often get mad at this too. Peter DeBoer came in with a different attitude this year. Not something that was easily adjustable, as attested by their home record, ironically, which is something that people will be studying for the next 10 or 20 years. But this is a team that found a way to get it together. DeBoer concentrated more on the strengths of his defense, which folks don't realize that San Jose actually is second in the league in shots allowed, and I believe they're first in the playoffs in shots allowed defensively. Martin Jones doesn't see a lot of shots. He doesn't have to be an all-world goaltender. He doesn't have to have a .930 or .940 save percentage every night. He can give up a couple goals and 20 shots and win because San Jose has enough of an offense that they feel they can score 3 goals a game. They'll be content winning 3-2 and 4-3 games throughout the series as much as possible, but they can also shut a team down. Also, the other big thing is the coaching staff in particular adjusted how Joe Thornton and Joe Pavelski play. Thornton plays kind of as a roving center. Pavelski plays as a roving winger. I know this sounds funny for most people to understand, but basically they switch a lot. on the ice. And you'll see how they do a two-man forecheck, and whoever's on the line with them kind of comes as the third man in from behind. And it's just a play design that just has worked all year. And teams haven't been able to stop it. They haven't been able to stop it on the power play particularly because usually they'll have Pavelski, they'll have Thornton, they'll have maybe Logan Couture, and then they'll have Brent Burns, who has a 105-mile-per-hour slap shot from the back. Few people realize this, but Burns' slap shot is really fast and has a lot of movement. That best thing probably that could happen was having Burns move around a little bit on the power play. The Sharks power play last season was a little stagnant. This year it's far from it. And over the second half, next to Anaheim, they were the league's best team in special teams.
Chris, my fellow Tri-State amigo, I want to wish you a happy Memorial Day. Want to ask you about Pittsburgh. You know, they almost mirror the Sharks as far as expectations in recent years. This team, however, was not really expected to make the finals. So why did they?
Biggest thing with Pittsburgh is Mike Sullivan. Sullivan changed the culture on this team. For those that don't know, Mike Johnson was a nice coach, but he could not get the best out of his players. It was not a secret that Sidney Crosby and Kenny Malkin and company grew more and more disenchanted with this sort of quasi-defense first style that they were playing. Their possession numbers were down. Sullivan comes in, and they're the 2012 LA Kings, except without hitting everybody in creation. But they controlled the pace, they controlled the play. Most importantly, they kept the puck away from their opponent, which helps, especially when your defense is not that. Basically, when you have fourth and fifth and sixth defensemen that are not that great, what's the greatest defense? An even better offense. And Pittsburgh was able to do that despite having guys. They had a so-so power play throughout the second half. It wasn't a story like San Jose where they were going 22, 23, 24% on the power play. 18, 19% is respectable, but for anybody that remembers Pittsburgh during their Cup final run in 2008 and their Cup run in 2009, this is a team that could get 25 to 30% easy on the power play. This is not the same Penguins. They do have to rely a little bit more on timely goal scoring. They have more balance with the HPK line, and they're able to mix Crosby in with an assortment of forwards, and you add in Chris Letang, and they're able to just get the job. They're able to grind you down throughout a game, and every opponent in their past so far has been grinded down to almost nothingness. If you look at Tampa Bay over pretty much the last game in particular, but throw out period 3 of Game 6, guys, there's a 5-period span where Tampa Bay basically had 26 shots on goal combined. That's not no lightweight of a team. I mean, yeah, Tampa Bay didn't have 100% Stamkos, but they have pretty much everyone else.
Hey, Chris, so Lord Stanley Cup, overall, what would this mean to Sidney Crosby, his legacy, if the Penguins are able to win?
For Crosby, as for his legacy in particular, it cements it. He's able to win under two completely different regimes. Dan Bilesma was like happy puck time. They did have a possession-based offense, but look, Bilesma could score 4, 5, 6 goals in a blink. With Sullivan, it's not quite like that. They're trying to keep the puck away to keep the score around 2, 3, or 4 goals a game. If you look around throughout the playoffs in the second half, Pittsburgh's been averaging around 3.05 to 3.1 goals a game overall, and that's good. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, this is a different era of the NHL. Goals are more obviously more at a premium, but it comes down to they just have been successful at the right time. They have timing. They have these clutch guys, and Crosby is one of them. I mean, he had 3 game-winning goals in the last series, and it just seems like no matter what he does sometimes out of Pittsburgh, he's going to get his fair share of abuse, whether it's warranted or not. But to be honest, the guy's an all-world talent. He's an all-world player. And if he's able to win a cup now, I think the people that are basically saying that, he's this and that are going to have to, shut their mouths for a while.
And I have the same question about Joe Thornton, because this guy seems like to me, maybe because I'm old, it seems like he just started playing. He's 36. I mean, he's near the end of his career at this point. So if the Sharks win, what does it do for his legacy?
God, for Joe Thornton, obviously for Boston fans, they'll have to sit there and wonder what could have been. I mean, Boston has a laundry list of guys that if they had stayed there, could they have won 4 or 5 Stanley Cups? But besides that, it does a lot for the legacies of obviously players besides Thornton, but for him in particular, it just puts him on another level. And this is a guy possession-wise in his mid-30s that next to Jaromir Jagr literally controls the pace of the game better than anyone else. And he's done this, I'd say to be fair, the past few years under much anonymity, if you will. I mean, people haven't noticed it. And now they're starting to, because, hey, you advanced in the finals, you must be doing something right. Okay, here we go. Oh, you're not chokers anymore. And San Jose is far from that in this case. Maybe a couple years ago against LA. Okay, maybe they choked that one away. But the West is not an easy conference to get out of. This year may have been the easiest in a while. And that's a considerably high standard, guys, because you look at last year, you look at 2 years ago, you look at 3 years ago, and just how tough it was. This year didn't feel as tough because the previous years were so ridiculously hard. And right. for Thornton, it would, no matter what he says to the press or what he said today in the media day availability that I saw, there were a lot of very amusing quotes. This means everything to him right now. He wants the Stanley Cup. He smells it, for a lack of a better term. He knows that it's close, and San Jose does have a team that can definitely win this.
Yeah, and we have San Jose and we have Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's okay. San Jose is just kind of there. So why should the non-hockey fan actually tune in to watch these finals?
I think for one thing, and you hate to have one negative point to start, but you kind of have to. I think you get the feeling, guys, that the schedule's spread out a little much.
Yeah, too much. Just like the NBA. Yes. It's way spread out.
I mean, you had chances probably to squeeze this in a little bit tighter. I get the TV windows and such, but what may not be realized is a lot of these games are going to be starting 5:20 Pacific time when the team shifts to San Jose. And anybody who tries to get to an arena during the week at 5, before 5 o'clock, I know this from even covering the 07 series with Anaheim. It's a logistical nightmare. Yes, the San Jose arena is a little bit away from a main metropolis, et cetera, but still, it's a chore. Other than that, all that being said, there is a lot of good to this. You're going to watch a heck of a power play in San Jose go up against a very staunch penalty kill in Pittsburgh. Now, obviously, some players are saying they're fine, like Nick Bonino, but I watched him block a shot off that leg in Game 7, and how that hurt. That looked like it definitely hit a shin and did some damage. It's a war of attrition, guys. And that's the one thing that the Stanley Cup playoffs has that no other league does. It's an absolute total war of attrition. You do want to see who winds up finishing on top.
Hey, Chris, I'm not sure if you know this or not, but Gary Bettman was let go. You were brought in as the commissioner of hockey. How do we catapult this professional sports league from being a number 4 league to, let's say, a number 2 league? Because NFL is king. You have a ongoing relationship with NBC. it slightly seems to be working. Probably not as good as with ESPN. What would you do to fix the NHL, its popularity, and just being able to expand the viewership?
First things first, you're firing a lot of people. You're cleaning house all over the place. You do whatever you have to do at this point. If I've got to get rid of Milbury and Jones and whichever stooge NBC Sports Network, I'm doing it. I'm bringing in guys with personality, guys with knowledge, and guys that don't basically say, "Oh, he's flapping around to see if he gets a mild concussion." No matter how jokingly things like these in quotes are said, you cannot say it. You can't have a division of player safety sending out emails basically saying, "Oh, well, how should we suspend this guy? We just suspended a bunch of players for 20 games, and we don't want to appear like we're too tough." A lot of things have to be cleared out. Marketing has to be much better. You can't. If a team wants to have 6 million watch parties for their playoffs, let them have it. Look, your ratings aren't that great anyway. As of this moment, you're trying to promote the sport in whatever way you can. If you can get us 20 or 30,000 more people to watch your event, they're going to tell 50 or 60,000 people about what's going on. That's good. Word of mouth has the greatest ripple effect. And when you have all these little negative events that the NHL has had, you have a huge problem. So you have to clear out the dinosaurs of this league. Yeah, it's going to create some animosity at first. But that's one thing. The second thing is, like I said, you have to market better. You have to put on, and the biggest thing with marketing is you have to put on credible hockey programming, original hockey programming. You look at football. There's like a 4-hour block just dedicated to fantasy football for season long. Never mind daily, which is like 3, 4, 5 hours on NFL Network every day. Sometimes in the off season, I saw a 2-hour show the other day where they were talking about daily and season long. It's May, guys. May. The season doesn't start for 3.5 months. They're already slotting guys in for rankings, even for DraftKings. That should tell you right there what the NHL is doing wrong. The NHL is too much of a niche sport for its own good. And if you're ever going to get it above, say, number 3 or even number 4, because you can argue a couple leagues are pretty close, or entities even, you have to think outside the box. You have to get dedicated programming every day. And you have to spread this word of mouth that things are going to be different. If a guy stomps on a player, he's gone for the season. None of this, I don't know if he hurt him or not or such. You have to be firm. You can't have this wishy-washy, we suspended this guy 10 games, and then we went and suspended this guy 1 because he's Chris Letang. That can't happen anymore. There cannot be a preference anymore, or star bias like we've seen in some of these series, even with some of the officiating. That has to be changed too. The officials have to understand a call is a call is a call. I understand the playoffs, it's a different standard, but if you're going to do that, be consistent. We have not had consistency in years, guys, and that's why the product just generates such a frustration. So you want to have consistency, you want to have solid marketing, and most importantly, you want your business and marketing people to be on board and to be ready to do things that are a little bit outside the box.
So with the Stanley Cup, with the Sharks and with the Penguins, tell us who wins and why.
Oh, boy, I'm going to be unpopular with this one. I may not be able to go to Pittsburgh for Primanti's anytime soon. That's for sure. I have gone with them the whole entire way since the first round. And I learned my lesson, and I said, well, originally I had Anaheim beating San Jose in round 2, and then when Anaheim got knocked out, I was like, well, I'm going San Jose. I have to go all in at this point. I have San Jose winning in 6 very tough games for this reason. Pittsburgh's power play still has not shown to me this consistency that I was expecting under Mike Sullivan. I don't know why. Maybe it was just wishful thinking by me that the Penguins would come back to be a top 3 or 4 threat on the power play every single night. But 10th is not okay against a team like San Jose. San Jose attacks the puck very well. They play a lot like how Pittsburgh does, but it's sort of different means to the same end, guys. Pittsburgh does it with a lot of quick counters and off turnovers. San Jose does it off a lot of their top line. It's a little bit different. The scheme is different. Pittsburgh will send 2 guys up the ice out of nowhere. San Jose will just come in a wave. It's like, look, here we come, try and stop us. And they're physical enough, and Joe Thornton and Joe Pavelski and Logan Couture are strong enough to keep Pittsburgh players off the puck. And I think that might be a difference in this series. Tampa, you didn't have that. Pittsburgh was able to take the puck away from guys like Tyler Johnson and Nikita Kucherov and frustrate them a lot. It's a lot harder to take a puck off Joe Thornton. Thornton may be about 225 or so at this point. I mean, I don't know how many burgers he's eaten over the weekend. But all kidding aside, these are strong guys with extremely good lower centers of gravity. And that's something that doesn't get talked about a lot in hockey circles, but I think it makes a huge difference here. Their power play is just, San Jose's power play is too much. And look, how does a rookie like Matt Murray handle the Stanley Cup Finals atmosphere? I mean, look, Martin Jones is young too. This is his first go-around this deep. But I think San Jose's coaching staff with Larry Robinson as a consultant, et cetera, and you have Johan Hedberg as a goaltending coach, goaltending consultant there. You have enough experience, and I know a devil's influence. I can hear that in the background, where it may just be enough. Now, things change, obviously, if Pittsburgh can dominate 5-on-5 the way they did against Tampa, but I don't think it's going to be quite as easy for them, particularly early in the series. As the series goes on, I'm curious how it goes, but I do think San Jose has enough to hold on in 6. Guys, it's going to be a fun final, though.
Chris, want to thank you again for joining the show. Tell us best ways to find your work and ways to get in contact with you.
All right. Easiest way, folks, is on Twitter, as always, at Chris Wassel DFS. I'll be doing some fun stuff for Dobberhockey in the Fantasy 6 starting in about the first or second week of June. And then don't worry, I'd say by August or so, you'll see my NHL profiles on the Sports Forecaster magazine. And come September, probably McKean's, and then we'll start getting the daily fantasy ball rolling again. So don't worry. Just because it's the off season doesn't mean we're done. We're far from it. We have the draft, free agency, and everything. We will cover it on a few sites and such out there. So don't get discouraged just because the hockey is ended. It's far from over. There's a lot of intrigue going on, even into July.
The fans hoping to catch a little bit of the old-time religion right here, baby. With Junior stepping up to the plate. Here comes the stretch. And the pitch to Junior on the way. Swing and a fly ball hit to deep right center field. That baby is going to be fly away. The old-time religion lives. Junior does it. A 2-run home run. And we are tied at 3-3. My, oh my. Magic is back at least for a night.
Geico presents sharing versus oversharing. Earlier this week, Claire Tippins shared a princess nickname generator, 3 pictures of her dog wearing a tutu, and 2 online quizzes, including, what candy is your dream castle made of? Claire, your sharing has tipped the sugar scale and turned into oversharing. But have no fear, princess. Geico has something worth sharing with your internet kingdom, like how you could save hundreds on your car insurance just by visiting geico.com. No magic wand required. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Hey, it's Flo, and this is my impression of a drill instructor directing a musical. Town hut! Get those tap heels in line and let me see those jazz hands! Are you bundling your home and auto insurance through Progressive? Can you hear me through those sequins?
Bundle your home and auto through Progressive and save.
Left, 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 and step ball change.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates. Home insurance provided and serviced by other select insurers.